Hello Aqua friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and today we are going to do a wet on wet beautiful sunset over this gorgeous meadow. And for this project I soaked a piece of paper in the sink first for a couple of minutes. As you can see, my paper is not taped down. It is super soggy. And the reason why I did this is because I want to be able to play around with the sky for a long time, and I don't want to feel rushed and worry about my paper drying. I want to be able to build up my colors. Now, one important thing that we have to do is make sure that the edges of our painting, that we soak up the excess moisture. So you will see me run a piece of paper towel along the edges off and on, and that's because I don't want any back runs going along the edges of my project. So simple palette here, folks. I'm using the ISO Yellow Deep and Bright Violet mixed with some quinacridone and rose and some ochre for some extra pops of pink. And then for the metal part, I will be using sepia. So you can see I started with my ISO yellow and I'm putting that on the bottom part of my paper. Now you could tilt your board while you're working. That helps the colors mix together. It's going to help my yellow move upwards on my paper. And I'm just making sure I got the edges nice and clear of the water. Bringing in that bright violet for the sunset part on the top, getting the soft effect there on the very top part before I start putting my clouds in. So nice long sweeping strokes really gives movement to the sky. What I did right there is I want that really bright spot of light, and I just took a piece of paper towel and just smooshed it so that that shows where the really bright spot of light is coming through the clouds. Adding in my quinacridone red along with some more bright violet for these beautiful clouds. So you can see how shiny my paper is, folks. I have so much time to be able to play around and just enjoy the process of making this pretty sky. To get darker clouds, I'm using less moisture on my brush, but more paint. So when you mix up your puddles of paint, you'll have a really thick consistency of paint, and then you'll get those really dark pops of color there so that you could get the darker clouds in. So coming down now to my sepia, and I'm getting that nice and saturated, and I'm putting the ground cover in, and everything is wet. And so what's going to happen is this is going to bleed up into that yellow, and it's going to look soft and it's going to look wispy. So I'm tilting my paper in order to get gravity to help me pick up those pools of paint. Again, I don't want to back run along the edges, and so I'm just watching how much moisture is coming off of my paper there. So with that same pretty purpley pink, I am putting in the meadow flowers in the foreground. Now, folks, I am stippling this in because it is making some very interesting textures, and I'm really liking how this is turning out. For the receding areas, those textures are going to get smaller and smaller, so you notice my brush strokes are getting more tiny and tiny towards the distance. towards my horizon line. Now I need more contrast here, so I'm trying to get a really nice thick consistency of paint, and I do want the meadow part to be darker, so I'm dropping in more of my sepia mixture. And I'm continuing with that stippling action here, just dot, 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 tap, 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 tap with the brush, and you get some very pretty effects here. Isn't this such a simple palette, guys? This is so easy and it's so much fun. I really hope you guys give it a try. Now I'm also taking a really thick consistency of the Oprah pink, and I am dabbing that in there. I want to charge up those areas with a brighter pink for some really nice spots of color there. So just keep adding as much color as you want. This is pretty much it. My last little step here is taking a script liner brush and just adding a little bit of textures of some grasses in the foreground. Now, I just wanted to show you guys one extra step that you could take. So you notice I have hard edges here. I kind of like that effect, but before I end up doing my painting, I like to do a little warm-up exercises using the same colors on a smaller canvas to see if my ideas are going to work, okay? So this is my first little one that I did, and I absolutely loved it. But then I started thinking, I wonder what would happen if I soften some of the edges. Will I like it better? And I like to soften edges by using a magic eraser. So this is an option for you guys. You just take off a little chunk of a magic eraser and you get it nice and wet. So I'm just squeezing out a little bit of the excess water, and then you can go about softening up, and it kind of gives it this hazy look when we do that. And you can further lift by taking a piece of paper towel and just dabbing it on there. Okay, so you could play around with that. I absolutely love doing these little warm-up exercises because they do get you in the mood for painting. And, you know, if you're successful with the first little tiny painting and, you know, you've warmed up, you're going to have great success when you go to do the real deal here. But I kind of like this, and so I'm just going to leave it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Hope you give it a try. See you guys next week.